and welcome to episode 42 of Anime and Us Other. I'm TJ.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is the review show that reviews, I don't even know, movies of some kind, sometimes, whatever.
Every now and then.
Yeah, there you go.
Alright, so, this episode we got Lupin the Third, Missed by $1.
We sure do.
It came out in the year 2000. It's an hour and a half. And that's all the info I have on it.
So, first things first, I figured we should get back to Lupin because we covered like every Dragon Ball Z movie besides...
Just about, yeah. There's
just
a couple super movies, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and you said the other ones I needed to see the show.
So we didn't do Resurrection F yet, right?
Yeah, but I didn't want to cover that one because I know you've seen it recently.
Yeah.
So,
but that is that's the last one before you need to watch Super, the show.
Right.
The other movies, you gotta watch the show first.
And we have about 1,000 Lupin movies still to get through.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I figured we'd get back to them. And two, this is a full-blown hour and a half movie.
I feel like maybe because we're used to the Dragon Ball Z TV specials, that this felt really long.
No, because the Lupin ones are only about an hour too.
Okay, so it was about an extra half
hour.
So
I'm wondering if this one was not a TV special and an actual...
Yeah, maybe it was actually in the theater.
Yeah, and like Japan, obviously it wasn't over here, but like...
Yeah.
But, you know. Anyway, so yeah, we're covering... I don't even know what movie this one is, but anyway.
Missed by $1.
No, I mean, number-wise.
Oh, 42.
No. Lupin movie.
Okay. Sorry. There's a couple different rankings here.
Yeah. Anyway. So...
I think the movie starts off at an auction where they're like trying to buy a coin.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, premise. Ring.
It's a Lupin movie. I guess it's kind of the premise. Everything else is just fluff. But Lupin eventually wants this brooch.
Yes.
And in order to get that, he first has to get this coin for whatever reason. I honestly can't remember why.
Because the ring has...
Or ring. Is it coin or ring?
It's a ring.
It's a ring.
And the ring has the engravings of where the brooch is.
Right. So he's auctioning it, and he loses the auction by $1.
By $1.
Immediately, there's the title, Missed by $1. Hey, that's a decent title, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. I was actually pretty interested in the premise. Although, it's long, and there's a lot of fluff, like you said, so...
Yeah, I don't remember most of it. I'm in and out, so I remember bits and pieces. The main thing for me to bring up is that Fujiko looks nothing like Fujiko in this movie. Well, like she's got we've talked about it before how she's kind of drawn differently. But for the most part, you're still like, oh, that's Fujiko.
Yes.
But in this one, like, you see her and I'm like, is that a different, who is that?
It's because, like we said it before, but she's the only one that has different outfits. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the other three have such iconic looks, it's kind of hard to...
They only ever change their outfit when they're, like, on the mission.
Yes. So it's like, it's obviously, we know who...
And even then, Goemon, I think, for the most part, 95% of the time is in his, kimono.
In his kimono, yeah. I mean, Jigen's always in that black hat and black suit, and Lupin, depending on what season he's in, has a different color coat. Mm-hmm. But that's it. But, like, what color... I think it was...
I mean, sometimes they dress up for the...
Right.
For the event, but that's it.
Or they're in disguise or something like that. But yeah. So,
I was really drawn to his hands. His fat hands with the hair on them. They kind of look like a monkey.
Lupin?
Yeah, Lupin's. Yeah. Every now and then, it's like just the way they draw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's where my eyes go.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be monkey-like, apparently. Yeah. So Jigen is voiced by Vegeta in this one, right?
Oh, he must have been, yeah.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, oh, that's Vegeta, or that's like
Zoro.
Piccolo, Zoro.
Yeah.
It sounded mostly like Zoro.
Yeah, because I think that's his normal voice, right?
I think so. I can only assume.
I mean, I can't.
Or it's at least his voice that has least changed.
Right. I mean, because he can't sound like Vegeta. That's only Vegeta. Yeah, no one has that voice. But yeah, so yeah, it's definitely... He wasn't bad. He sounded close to the
he was fun.
Original voice actor, but it was distracting because we know him from so many other things. So... He's like one of the only voice actors I can pick out now, too.
Him and probably Shawn who does Goku. Past that, like, I'll pick out the voice, but I don't know who the it is. Right, you know what I mean? Like, that happens all the time.
The only other voice I know I can catch is Hercule.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever does a Hercule's voice.
It might be, the guy that does Vegeta. Chris Sabat. It might be.
It might be him. It could be.
I know they do multiple.
But you could tell when that Hercule voice comes in. So, anyway. So, I mean, this one is corporations are bad. That's pretty much it. We have a female villain. I don't know if we've had a female villain that's not Fujiko.
They're not usually the head villain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're usually like a supporting or something like that.
Yeah, it's true.
Or the villain's girlfriend who just happens to be involved here or there.
Right. I think this movie was released in 1999, too. So we're getting closer to modern times.
Yeah. So interesting enough, it's like, we always talked before about how the animation is like way ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to feel more normalized. Like,
yes.
That's what a 99, 2000 anime kind of looks like. The good ones, at least.
Right. I mean, yeah, because the animation's still fantastic.
Oh, it's still good for its time.
Yeah.
But before it was way ahead of its time. Now it's just like, oh, okay, that's what a good anime looks like in that time period.
Now everybody else is catching up.
Yeah.
But, still credit for being the originator and stuff, so can't...
Nothing memorable about the audio as far as like the musical score and all that.
No.
Normal, but in the other ones, like some of the songs were funny, like they're singing "Wolf This."
Well, the opening song was a Lupin. They were singing Lupin and stuff like that. So, but no, not really anything interesting music wise. But yeah, I mean, they're looking for Lupin's got like 3 girlfriends in this one.
Fujiko, the redhead that also wants the brooch. I don't know her name.
The head of the criminal organization, and then the singer for some reason.
Who eventually gets the brooch.
Yeah, who eventually gets the brooch and becomes famous. That was just a weird side story. I get it was just character development for Lupin, showing them that he's kind of a good guy.
Yeah,
but it was just kind of superfluous too, because it's like they stop every 4 times in the movie just to give us a song. And I get it, Lupin's just in a bar listening to atmosphere and it's world building and stuff like that, but it was like, it's kind of not needed in the story.
And he didn't feel like he was head over heels for Fujiko in this movie, like he normally is.
No, at one point Fujiko actually mentions, oh, you like this other girl. And it was like, it's almost like they are not together and they're just like together when they want to be.
I think that's kind of how it is.
Yeah. So
it's like a friends with benefits type thing.
It's kind of thing. Every once in a whenever the urge strikes them. But yeah, I mean, of course, the movie starts out with Lupin and Jigen going to Goemon, who doesn't want to be in this caper because he's kind of in a cult at the time. And then Fujiko's now a movie star, and she's like, I'm not doing that. And then, of course, they both come in because they both get ripped off and they both need the money and so forth and so forth. And then they eventually get the money. Did they get the money? No.
They got the brooch. I don't think they got the money.
They did get the money at the end because they took the head lady's corporation they took everything from her. But Fujiko took the money from them and then lost it all in investments. At the end they ended up with nothing again as usual. So
how do you keep funding these operations when you make very little money, if any? Usually you're in the hole. You know what I mean? Like, how can you go on the next one right now? After all this money you spent prepping everything, flying places.
I always took it that Lupin just inherited everything from his...
Maybe he just had
from his other 2 famous thief dad.
And to be fair, there's a couple times where they got some wins.
Yes.
But not enough to fund everything.
But you know what? We don't see it in the movies, but we do see it in the TV show when they get wins. So they win a lot more in the TV show.
Maybe in the TV show it's more wins, and then the movies are like, oh, these are our losses.
Yeah, essentially.
That'd be a really funny thing if that was true.
Yeah. So here's another thing. The depiction, I've noticed this throughout the Lupin series, the depiction of New York is always like a gutter.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, if you think about it, Lupin came out, in the 70s?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in the 90s, New York's only nice now.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, back then, it was shit.
But they show,
crime was bad.
They show, drugs and stuff.
That's New York, though.
I understand that.
It's all, and even now, it's not great, but for a city, it's pretty good now.
But, but my point is, they don't depict anywhere else like that.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, a lot of other places are bad.
Yeah.
But if we think about, right now, just in America, what's your worst city as far as, crime and, not just crime, but homelessness and grossness, people shitting in the streets? LA.
As far as, well...
you know what I mean? I picture New York is fairly clean. Even Chicago, depending on where you go, obviously.
Well,
it's fairly clean.
I think...
Philly, fairly clean.
I was about to say Philly's I think, just hit number 1 in the murder.
Yeah, well, so I'm talking about not necessarily murder rates.
Right.
But, just a place you don't really want to go. The homelessness population, right? People literally taking their pants off, shitting in the streets. Crack addicts everywhere. It's LA right now. But in the 70s and 80s and 90s, it was mostly New York and then started to get LA and Chicago and all those places. They had their spikes and ups and downs, but New York was the epicenter then.
I guess it's because that's where everyone was coming in from?
I mean, that definitely makes sense.
I'm assuming...
And those people are typically poor. Right. So, it's hard to move to other places once you're there.
I know the immigration stuff now is from the South here. That's the whole big thing in politics these days. But like in the 70s, I would assume it's coming from
mostly New York, I would say. Offhand.
Right. And I would assume the homeless population kind of migrated west because it's just warmer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't want to be in New York out in the streets in the middle of winter, you know what I mean? Freaking
And
freezing.
politics. I mean, in the 90s, they cracked down really hard everywhere on crime and homelessness and stuff. But in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, LA and California in general has really laxed on things like camping out in the streets and stuff like that.
Right.
Whereas a lot of other places have actually cracked down on it. So, I mean, it makes sense. You go where you're welcome.
That's fair. Anyway, it just stood out.
Yeah, it definitely does stand out.
That's why I brought it up, because it's not the first time we've been in New York. Do you remember the last New York one that we had in Lupin, where they're driving through that giant base?
So when you're on the streets of New York in Lupin, it's very gritty and grimy and terrible. But when you're in like let's say an apartment complex building, it's glitzy and rich. Because this is where the rich people are.
Also, when they show the streets of New York in Lupin, there's a lot of black people.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're in a city. That's typically where a lot of multicultural
But you only
people...
see them draw that when they're in New York.
Well, that might be slightly racist, but yeah.
That's because there's an awful lot of them. I'm just saying, it's there. But, I mean, again, this is a Japanese studio depicting what they...
A country they've probably never set foot in.
They're stereotyping what they think New York is.
And they're stereotyping what they think Japan wants to see.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, it is slightly racist, but, I mean, Japan... Like, we always...
Maybe more,
naive.
Naive, and what's the word? Not racist. I mean, it definitely is a bit racist, at least. But it's like, oh my god. Like, there's a reason for things. There's a, stereotyping.
Oh, stereotyping, yes.
You know what I mean? I think it's mostly stereotyping. Like, this is their image of it, and that's just what they think that's what it is.
I mean, and we've always said this, Japan's always behind on culture stuff, so even if it is racist, I mean, it's Japan. What do you expect?
Come on, they're 20 years behind us.
Yeah, even now they're 20 years behind us, so it's...
They're getting there. Just give them time.
I mean, just their depictions of schoolgirls. I mean, come on.
Oh, Christ.
It's like...
I don't think that's changing anytime soon.
I know, but still.
Wait for the next episode.
Yeah, next one's bad. Anyway.
You know what? Typical average Lupin movie, but not bad.
No. It's like I said, it's a little long, though.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, they go through, like I said, they get the ring, they lose the ring, they find the ring's message, they get the brooch, they lose the brooch, they get the brooch back. At
one point in time, Jigen has a gun that's not his. And he's not hitting things, and he's like, I just want a gun that's not shaking or whatever.
Yeah, because Lupin gave him his gun. Oh, and at one point, they tried to tell us Lupin dies.
Oh, yeah, he faces his own death.
Yeah, like, he almost dies, like, twice in this movie. It's like, this is a Lupin movie.
I like, Jigen and all them think he's dead, so they're like, we're going to finish this mission.
And then they go and get their asses kicked by the same guys. It's like, come on.
And then there's Lupin!
I mean, all the beats are there, all the tropes are there.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. I think.
It wasn't terrible. I'd probably give it 7, 6.
Yeah, no.
Somewhere around there, closer to it. If it's a 7, it's closer to a 6 than an 8.
Yeah, it's not an 8, but it's definitely in the 6 and 7 range. I think it's a low 7.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alright. Oh, we never talked about why we're doing a Lupin movie this week.
We got Prison School, and it was my birthday, so pushed it a week.
We pushed it a week. And yeah, we're going to cover Prison School next week, so...
Alright guys, next time.
Bye.
Prison School.